Welcome to another Photography Simplified video. My name is Chris, and in these videos, I do my best to simplify digital photography for you with the goal of helping you to get out and take great photos. Today, we're going to be covering polarizing filters and how you can use them to combat some difficult situations created by light. Today, I'll be covering circular polarizing filters, or CPL filters. So, what is a polarizer? A polarizer is a filter that you can attach onto the front of your lens, and they can be useful for different situations, like removing glare, or haze, or bright reflections, and they can even add some contrast to your photos as well. To understand how your polarizer works, it's important to know what polarized light is. Polarized light, simply explained, is light that travels in a single plane. This often happens with reflections or when light is refracted. You can use your polarizer by turning it to increase the effect. And when you turn it based off of the angle of the light that is hitting your lens, you can block out that polarized light. By the way, if this is helpful, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see other beginner tutorials as well. Let's go over some situations where using a polarizer might be a good idea. One example is bright reflections on things like metallic surfaces. Take cars, for example. Some other examples include bright reflections on things like leaves and foliage when you're in the forest or mountain, removing reflections on glass. A polarizer can also be helpful for removing reflections on water, and if you're just trying to darken a bright sky. Basically, a polarizer can be helpful in any situation where you're dealing with bright light, reflections, haze, and that type of thing. If you're finding this video helpful, my book may be helpful to you as well. Please consider checking out my book, Photography Simplified.
If you would like a visual beginner's guide to photography, check out my book, Photography Simplified, available in both paperback and ebook format on Amazon. The book covers topics including exposure and the exposure triangle, sharpness and focus, gear, composition, editing, and more. It even includes a list of beginner tips. There are helpful graphics to explain each of the topics that are covered in the book. I've put a lot of work into this book to include everything I wish I could have known when I started out. If you think the book could be helpful to you and haven't already, check the link in the description for more information.
Some things to keep in mind about using a polarizer are that the effect is going to depend on how much you turn the polarizer. Remember, you'll have to readjust your polarizer anytime you point your camera at a new scene. This is because the light is going to be hitting your camera at a different angle, so you'll have to readjust the lens filter to filter out that polarized light. Another thing to know is that a polarizer does not work well when you're pointed directly at the sun or directly away from it. Remember, this is because polarized light is often reflected light. So if you're shooting perpendicular to the sun, then your polarizer will work well. If you remember to shoot at 90 degrees to the sun, when you want to use your polarizer, you will run into these issues. Another problem that polarizers can cause is an uneven sky because of the problem I just mentioned. If you're doing something like a large panorama and you're moving your camera to take multiple photos, you may not get the same effect as more direct light is hitting the lens, and so the sky will look uneven when you put your final panorama together. So just be careful in using a polarizer to make sure that your sky doesn't look uneven or have any weird gradients in it. That's polarizers. Hopefully this helps you.